Shalom Chavrim, I'm Steve Benoon. You're watching Israeli News Live, and I suppose, guys, you are wearing your seatbelts tonight. I am just getting in to this whole issue. Of course, my lovely wife, Yana, has been very deep involved in the study of the 5G technology that is just devastating to the human body, and what is going on there. And of course, recently she has gone even more into connecting the dots with 5G technology, the New World Order. And as we're working on connecting these dots, we are really finding out some very interesting things here. NEOM is one of the very interesting aspects of what's going on. And as I say, we're just getting started in our research. Of course, Shana's been researching this for quite some time, but then she begins to share that research with me, and then I begin to take it into a different direction to see where this may go biblically, and what can we anticipate, what can we expect. And those of you that may not know what NEOM is the next city-state that is being built in Saudi Arabia. It will be just like Washington, D.C. It'll be just like Vatican City and London City, all three of the three city-states that actually rule and govern the world. But we're going to be getting very deep into this over the next coming days. So if you have friends that are really interested in knowing what's happening and knowing how the things are connecting together, I encourage you to have them join us here on Israeli News Live. Make sure they see this video here. Again, I'm still pulling things out that are just really amazing, and I'm maybe a little bit premature on this broadcast, but I felt I really needed to share this with you guys. Because NEOM is going to be an AI city. It will be a city-state within Saudi Arabia. It will have its own constitution. It'll be a city full of robots, everything artificial. It will be open to a free trade zone. It'll be open to a free trade zone that covers even Israel, Jordan, Egypt, connecting these countries here together as part of this free trade zone. And it'll be a destination spot, a travel spot for people to come to from around the world. It is a futurized city. Now, there's another futurized city already kind of that has been in the works now for a number of years, and that's in Estonia. Actually, not a city, but a country, Estonia, right there on the border with Russia in Eastern Europe. This is a city that is completely already, the entire people are working off of a one-card system, part of the 5G technology that is going to integrate everything about you into one system. Now, I don't want to get off onto that right now, but I got into this issue, like I said, a little bit premature, but I wanted to get into this because when I looked at this city-state that they are creating here, right here, as you can see on the map and behind me here, they show you the outlines of this city right here. The new city called NEOM will be developed within this location. The Saudi government has already put $500 billion. They are working with Israel on this project. Now let me just find everything. It's right here, Riyadh. This is on Arab News. Says here, Riyadh, I'm sorry, that's Beijing. That's the Silk Road. We're going to get to that in just a moment. Let me find the one where Israel is working with them. No, going the wrong way, I think. Geez, I must have closed that particular window. I apologize. I did have that up. Israel is working with the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia for this deal there. I had an article up before. Maybe, let me see, I'll pull up over here. Maybe I can find it real fast. It is very interesting. Let's see now. Wow, I cannot believe I lost that particular website there. It was, well, you know what, let me just do like this here. It's easy to pull up. We'll put in there, Saudi Arabia, Israel, and NEOM. That's all you got to put in to pull this up. Israel is expected to be a part of this. They're working with the Saudi government. Here's one article on JPost. It's not the one that I actually had up. But it says Israeli companies working with Saudi Arabia business innovations on this new smart city called NEOM. There is it says right here that a number of Israeli companies are talking to the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia about developing the proposed 26,500 square kilometer smart city zone. The Jerusalem Post has learned a blow to the decades-long Arab League boycott of the Jewish state. The Sovereign Wealth Fund is owned and controlled by the Saudi state there. Now, Israel is coming into this because Israel will also, along with Jordan and Egypt, they will create a tri-city connection to this city here, this city called NEOM. It says here that the nickname NEOM from neo, new in Latin, and first letter of the first letter most cabal. That's interesting, isn't it? Cabal, right? Wow. An Arabic word meaning future. It's a new future. It's a futurized city. But Smart City would host high-tech companies working in a range of fields, including solar energy, water, biotech, technology, robotics, food technology, and all which are fields where Israeli startups and firms are more established than competitors in Arab countries. So the Israelis are really heavy involved in this project, but I wanted to get into a totally different aspect, something that I don't think anyone has been able to put together as of yet. I want to greet everybody, greet our moderators as well. Thank you, sisters, for being here tonight and helping with this chat room. We really appreciate you tremendously. But anyway, the connection that I wanted to share with you guys about this, and we actually have a special guest, a brother from Australia that will be coming on with us later this week, Thursday night, discussing the 5G technology. He's not an expert in the field. He is a believer, and he's just going to share with us the things that are happening in Australia about 5G. And it kind of goes hand in hand. So again, this is really not the night for 5G technology. But what I'm wanting to get on, though, this issue here, is the location of this new city-state. We already know that Vatican City, London City, and Washington, D.C., all three of these, as they call it, the Trinity network there that actually runs the world economic systems. It runs the world's military, the world's spiritual head. They're bringing about a new world order. And that's totally different issue, but now we're having a fourth city-state being constructed right here in Saudi Arabia. But it's the fact of where the city is being located at. And in fact, it's 33 times, by the way, 33 times the size of New York City. Kind of an interesting tidbit there. But it's where the city is located. Now, before I tell you where it's located at, which you can see it on your map already where it's at, but there may be something that you're not aware of that is going to be right in the heart of this city here. In fact, actually, if you compare it to a human being, it's probably closer to where the human heart sits is going to be in this city. But before I do that, let me first share with you some interesting tidbits about the other city-states, such as the Vatican City itself. Or let me go to London first, see if that's the one that popped up on the screen. I didn't get everything in order yet because I'm so disturbed about what I'm seeing here. Right in London City is a reconstructed Roman temple of Mithras opens to the public in London. This was a sun god worship. It was a pagan temple that was there, right there by the river in London. And of course, the sacrifices that were offered there, etc. It is believed to be that the Mithras religion did sacrifice bulls as well, but they said the place was so small they couldn't imagine them getting a bull down there. But nonetheless, it is something that they did. Now, that's something I want you to keep in mind, because also the Vatican City as well is also very heavy in Rome in the worship of Mithras. This is one of the reasons why they had a Mithras temple there in London City during the Roman times, and the Romans had actually control over that region. So Vatican City is no different. Washington D.C., in fact, they all have obelisks for the different Egyptian gods that they worship. We have the sun god, all these different things there. But here's what's really, really concerning to me. Now, what I'm going to share with you, you got to keep in mind, it might seem like a good thing, but then it's also, there is a negative side to it. And I think that the reason why they built the city there is because of the negative side and not the positive side. So let's jump back over to Riyadh here. Beijing, the launch digital, oh, I'm sorry, not that one there. I got so many things. Oh, there was the site I was looking for. This was Israel's involvement here. Let me just pull this out real quick, though, because I had mentioned this and I didn't ever bring it in. Israel right here, of course, the city of Eilat, Taba in Egypt, and Aqaba in Jordan are going to be participants in the NEOM City project here. And just to kind of give you an idea here, it says a $500 billion initiative to build the tri-state city at the Saudi, Egyptian, and Jordanian border in the Gulf of Aqaba will more than likely lead to Riyadh recognizing Israel and integrating Tel Aviv into the project. The ambitious Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman unveiled a $500 billion project at an investment forum earlier this week in an effort to bring some serious substance to the vision of 2030. That's when it's supposed to be completed. Project fundamentally diversified his country's oil-dependent economy in the coming decade. The proposal calls for a gigantic city called NEOM to be built at the entrance of the Gulf of Aqaba in the northeastern corner of the Red Sea, with the plan being for it to eventually extend into neighboring Egypt and Jordan as well. The Crown Prince promised that it would be a technology-advanced city with its own laws and administration, and it will also be free from anything traditional. Interesting. You could read more about it. I'll put that in the comment later there below. But again, we look at this and we see the city right here in the part of where it's at, and I took the time to blow that area up so you could see it a little bit better. I brought it in a little closer so you could see this area on the screen. Now what I want you to pay attention to, this is a highway right here. You probably don't see it very well on your screen. The highway goes up, it turns to the left, and it goes across inside of there. Now you'll notice that the city goes above that highway, it comes back down, and the mountain chain that is here, it is to the east of that mountain chain and comes back down, and of course out into the Gulf of Aqaba. And coming up, or the Red Sea, and then comes up towards the Gulf of Aqaba. Now, I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with Ron Wyatt. Ron had did some very interesting work in his lifetime. He was a nurse that put people to sleep. That was his actual profession, amateur archaeologist. He had actually illegally went into Saudi Arabia trying to find Mount Sinai. And he did this because he had found over on a place, so you can't really see it on this map here, but there's a place called Nuweiba Beach. I'll bring that up for you here on the maps that I have already pulled up. I think I still have it pulled up. Let's see. Here we go. Google Maps right here. And I'm going to zoom in to where that is. This here is Nuweiba Beach right here. And it was on this beach right here that Ron Wyatt actually discovered, underneath, he had discovered very odd formations of coral reef, and including, he found a chariot wheel that was covered in gold. And there's a documentary made with Leonard Moeller, Vivica Pontian. I know Vivica, and I know Ron Wyatt's, his widow, Mary Lou Neal Wyatt. I know her as well. Met her, very kind lady. Shared a lot with me, but I was interested in Ron's discovery in the crossing of the Red Sea, the children of Israel, because of the book I wrote, Yam Suf, and this is how I met the family there and talked to them more about it. But at any rate, there's a lot of evidence that seems to suggest that the children of Israel did cross the Gulf of Aqaba In fact, a very interesting fact I'll just share with you, I've written about this, but not many people are aware of this, was directly due east across from Nueva Beach was this mountain right here. And the top of that mountain is actually burnt. The rocks and stuff are burnt on there. And what caught my attention, I found this on satellite images there, but what caught my attention was a photo that had been taken by Ron's wife, and I saw that burnt cap over there, and no one had ever paid attention to it. Vivica Pontiana actually mentioned that to me. She said, "You're the only one that ever saw this." And of course, we know that God comes down, the angel of the Lord comes down and rests upon the mountain, and the wind blows all night from that eastern shore there, and the sea does part. So just conjecture. I don't know if it's true or not, just kind of interesting. But at any point, as you go over here into Saudi Arabia, we find out that there is a place called Jabal al-Laz, and this mountain region here is where it is believed that actually Moses took the children of Israel back to Midian. All right, now what's really weird though is that they've now marked this on the map. This used to never be on the map. You could zoom in and you'd never see it. But now that place is actually on Google Maps, Jabal al-Laz. Well, here's what's really striking about all this. Remember I showed you in the photograph here on, when we look at this photograph here, I said, look at the road here that comes off and how it goes over, right? And the other part of the road is way over here, like in a valley area. Okay? Now, if you look at Google Earth, when we see Jabal al-Laz, that road is way up here. Okay? It comes over here. And then it actually, I have to zoom in, I guess, a little bit closer to see where it's going south at. I don't see where it's going south at. I can see where it goes across the top is the main thing, what I'm seeing here. But here's the point that I want to make. Jabal al-Laz is going to be inside that city-state. Now, you might ask, what would that significance be? Well, if it truly is the real Mount Sinai, we know this is where God met Moses on the mount. But I don't see anything in the New World Order where they really care about God coming down and meeting Moses and giving him the 10 Commandments, especially in an AI city. In fact, with all the other city-states in the world having pagan traditions and pagan sacrifices that were offered at one time in Rome, Rome is actually, the Vatican itself sits on a pagan cemetery. London City is sitting on the remnants of a Roman pagan Mithras goddess place where they sacrifice bulls and stuff to the Mithras god. Rome also sacrificed these bulls. Then what do you know? What else happened at Mount Sinai? Remember the golden calf? Remember the worship of the golden calf? Interesting. And the sacrifice of the bulls. That, by the way, was an Egyptian trait as well. The Egyptians actually sacrificed the bulls as part of their rituals to their pagan gods. And I have a feeling this is the reason why Saudi Arabia chose this place. And why did they make that city so big? Was to make sure they included that in there. Now, the Saudis have never been very open to allow anyone to visit that site, but they're going to make sure you can visit the part they would like for you to see. Oh, I'm sure. Here's going to be the danger, friends. And this is why I wanted to share this with you. I'm not really ready to share this, but this is why I wanted to share this with you tonight. I am watching a new world order develop. And by the way, that was the other thing I was going to show you. Riyadh and Beijing launched the Digital Silk Road Initiative. Digital Silk Road. Don't forget NEOM And this article is all about NEOM in China and the New World, the Silk Road Initiative. The Kingdom of China have launched the Digital Silk Road Initiative. Dr. Mohammed Al-Mishageh, Undersecretary of the Ministry of Communications and Information Technology for the Saudi Planning and Development, made the announcement during a Saudi delegation participation in the World Internet Conference, which concluded recently in Wuzhen City in China. The name Silk Road comes from a historical network of trade routes started during the Han Dynasty, 206 BC, 220 AD, between Europe, India, and China, and other countries in the Afro-Eurasian landmass. Africa. See? The Saudi delegation also held a meeting with the National Development Reform Commission to activate the terms of Memorandum of Understanding signed in January 2016. The MOU was intended to promote the development of the digital Silk Road as well as review of the Chinese experience in the building smart cities. Al-Mishageh called the Chinese to boost partnership and benefit from Saudi investment and geographical capabilities to transfer knowledge and achievement progress in the field of technology, which the kingdom is betting on as a knowledge economic resource. I'll save the rest for you guys to read later. All right? So my point being here is this city is being built on a very sacred place to be the true Mount Sinai, but in my opinion, they're going to choose it for the occultic reasons. Now, as I said to you when we shared the other day from Matthew 24 and what Yeshua said, where he's teaching on this, and he talks about that many would come in his name. They would say that they are anointed, but these are the very same ones that will lead you completely astray. Let's pull it up real quick. I think it's important. We need to discuss this just for a moment. And like I said, I really have got some work to do to put these things in order for you so where you can really understand where I'm going at with this. But friends, if we're not careful, we're going to get deceived. All right? Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ. In other words, I am the anointed one, and shall deceive many. And you shall hear of wars. He talks about the wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes, divers places, kingdom rising against kingdom, etc. Then he says, these are just the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Who's going to deliver you up? These ones that come in the name of Jesus Christ that are claiming they're anointed of God. You know, listen, and I know there's a lot of people that love President Trump, and you think that he's really bringing you a great, making America great again. That would be nice. But there's only one way that making America great again is going to happen, under a new world order. You know, I said to you guys a little while back that the only way, the scripture in Revelation where it speaks about when this great city is being burned, and the merchants and everyone is mourning and saying, who is likened to this great city that made the world rich by her delicacies? And in 1 hour she's come to naught. The way President Trump will make America great again is by pulling us towards that new world order system. You know, I saw Lisa Haven on Twitter there, a thing in there about the United Nations, their disarmament plan of the whole globe. I've been telling you guys this, that the United Nations is the one that gave Obama the letter. I read it for myself with his own Secret Service agent that showed it to me. And it said in there, what are you going to do to disarm your nation? Because it was part of the initiative. It's part of the New World Order plan. I've told you this, guys, for what, 5 years now? The United Nations is the one that does the disarmament. Yeah, they'll use our soldiers. They may use Russian soldiers. We have Russian soldiers in the U.S. They may use Chinese soldiers. Who knows who they're going to send to your house knocking on your door. And see, where people are going to be so deceived is because Jesus tells you it's going to be people that are coming in His name claiming that they're anointed of God. Do you think that Donald Trump's evangelical team that he has, which are practically every one of them are millionaires? You see, the 501c, there's an agenda that was signed by the American government and pastors of 501c organizations, and they're willing to sell you out to the government to let you know who they really are, who really in their churches are people like me or you, that stand up for what's truth. Because right now, these people that are advising President Trump is, hey, practically every one of them making peace with the Pope. Why? Because they don't want to lose their millions. Have you ever noticed that? It's their $1 million purses they don't want to lose. And everything from the outside looks good. Oh, they're going to build a third temple for an Antichrist. Oh, wow, they're doing a NEOM City. They haven't told you this yet, have they? No, I don't bet there's a single one of them spoke about, oh, by the way, did you know the NEOM City is going to be built in Saudi Arabia? It's going to be the next city-state, and guess what? It's right Mount Sinai where God came down and met Moses. No, they're letting the Saudis prepare that one to tell you how great this is. But I bet you they won't take you to the spot where God came down and met Moses. They'll end up taking you over there to the golden altar there, where the altar was made out of stone, where they took and made the golden calf. And everybody be in awe and oohs and stuff to go see it. I would love to go and stand there where Moses stood, where God came down and spoke to him and gave him the 10 Commandments. It's kind of interesting. I remember Vivica Pontian saying to me one time, she said, there's Mount Sinai, and then there's Mount Horeb. And she said, those mountains are side by side. And Mount Horeb is where God gave him those 10 Commandments. The Levitical law came on Mount Sinai. Interesting. What are you gonna do, guys? I mean, let me tell you something. I know there's many of you guys, you may go to different churches and stuff like that in your home cities, wherever you may go. Can I ask you to do something? And you may have an online pastor as well. I don't know how you do that. Would you go challenge your pastors? Just tell them, say, I want to know the truth. Or, what about the 5G technology? Are they telling you the truth about 5G, what's really going on? Do you know President Trump is a supporter of the 5G technology plan? We're going to get into all this. We're going to get deep into this stuff here. It may take a few days. In fact, Thursday, I think, is when we're going to come out with the first broadcast really on this. But I had to bring this out because I'm thinking to myself, even I listened to one video today, and I forget which person I listened to it on this NEOM City, and I told my wife, I said, they don't have no idea what the significance of that location is. And immediately I began to think about all these pagan areas. I began to think about the city-state of the Vatican. I knew it was built on the ancient ruins of some ancient temple. I knew that they were built on a cemetery there of pagans, and I wasn't sure about London City. And then, of course, I look it up, and they discovered back after World War II, I think it was, the artifacts of an ancient Roman Mithras temple that was there. And, of course, the D.C., I don't even really know. I'm sure there's something about D.C., what we have built there or what they've done there since we've become a nation. Who knows what all's there. But, I'm watching everything come together. I realize that the Silk Road initiative that we have, it was part of the reason why they're taking out these 7 nations. And by the way, too, when President Trump did what we ended up calling the Muslim ban, the Muslims were not allowed to come as part of his zero tolerance policy. Did you ever know that It was never really a Muslim ban. It was only a ban on the 7 nations, which, by the way, was mentioned by General Wesley Clark. It was those 7 nations that he had stopped the Arabic people from coming into the United States. Can't say I blame him on that, but the point is, isn't it interesting? All the other Arabic states, none of them were stopped. But the 7, General Wesley Clark said, yes, they were not allowed to come into the country. Why? Because we're doing war with them. We're there to take them down. It's all part of a New World Order initiative. And I shared with you, I showed you guys how that those 7 nations, every one of them, including Sudan, all of them are right in the way of the Silk Road Initiative. Silk Road Initiative, New World Order, Vatican, Jerusalem, New World Order headquarters, Vatican City, by the way. Excuse me, not Vatican City, but the old city of Jerusalem will end up becoming a city-state as well, because you watch, it's going to come under a United Nations control. Now we have this particular city here, NEOM, being built right there where Moses met God on the mountain. But like I said, they're going to do it for pagan reasons. What do you guys have to say about this? I haven't even got a chance to come over here and see what you guys are saying. Is everybody blown away by this, or is it just me? You know, yes, 5G, that's exactly right, Jonathan. 5G technology is extremely dangerous. And, you know, the funny thing is we have actually been having, every one of us in our home has symptoms from it, because here in Europe, 5G technology is alive and well. It's very much being used here, and it is a tragedy what happens, and we couldn't even figure it out. I mean, for me, I deal with major fatigue problems that just come on me. I've never had these issues before, and just suddenly I get extremely tired and don't know what to do. My son, he breaks out in rashes, and everything that 5G technology does is like this. And by the way, those that are in the know about 5G towers and stuff are not permitted, they're sworn to secrecy and not permitted to say anything about it. But I am working on a connection that I have. Won't say who it is, you wouldn't know him anyway, but I have a connection that I might be able to find some hardcore facts of the dangers of this 5G technology that would probably be willing to speak to me directly. Not come on our show, I wouldn't think, but I think he'd be willing to tell me what the truth is. We're talking about a lifelong person in the industry. So I'm hoping to be able to pull some information together for you guys. We love you so much. Like I said, do ask the pastors you know, whether it be your pastors in your local church, your pastor, if you have an online ministry that you're following, challenge them. Ask them, what do you know about the Silk Road? What do you know about the 5G technology? What do you know? I mean, President Trump is involved in this. All right? You know, President Trump has said a lot of wonderful things that really made us feel like that, you know, we were going to see a great nation. Ask them, though, what about? So, you know what? Yeah, there is coming a new, revived, great America again. But at what cost? This is what I'm talking about, guys. This is what I'm talking about. What cost is it going to be to you? Because when that church, when that Roman system, Esau, is going down, the whole world mourns, because in 1 hour she's brought to naught. And they say, all the shipmasters. Why shipmasters? The Silk Road involves ship trafficking as well. In fact, Israel is trying to get involved in that with China as well, is making sure that their port in Haifa becomes a major distribution center. The shipmasters mourn and weep and said, she made the world rich. And you know how I know it's Vatican City that does it? Because the Chinese said themselves, it will be the Vatican that makes the Silk Road to glow. What about it? Ask your pastors, why does so many of President Trump's spiritual advisors connected directly with the Pope and trying to take America back into Rome again? What about these things? And by the way, this whole thing about immigration, stuff like that, it's just all a play. It's all a charade. Because it's all going to become a borderless system. That's what this whole initiative is all about. It's going to be a free trade zone globally. They are going to disarm America. I know I'd love to say that we're going to stand up and do something about it, but I don't know. I just don't see the people doing it. The FEMA camps, okay? This is where Matthew 24 is, guys. Let me just look at it again, though. They shall deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. In other words, those that recognize what Jesus says, for many shall come in my name saying, I am, take the word Christ out, put the word anointed. That's what the Greek word is, anointed. I am anointed, and shall deceive many. The masses that are coming in the name of Jesus Christ, claiming they're anointed of God and that this is the way we must go, are going to take you straight down to hell if you follow them. This is the way to go. They're going to be the ones that deliver you up. So listen, I'm going to be going into it this week anyway about Estonia, the little country of Estonia. What, about 1.5 million people I think live there? They're all connected. They're all part of an AI community. They're an experiment. What's going on? Listen, support this work if you would. We do appreciate it, and I want to thank you for those of you that are helping. We got a lot of work to do, and I'm really troubled. My wife is troubled beyond belief over these things. For her, she loses sleep over it because we want to warn the people. And when we get back to America, starting in August, maybe late July, I'll probably make it up to Northwest Florida in late July. But we have really got to do something to warn the people. We're going to do a trip across the nation, and we're going to be telling you things that you need to know. If you would like, I finally figured out how to do this. I can put the address up here for those of you that would like to help. If you want to do it by mail, if you shouldn't have trouble online anymore with IsraeliNewsLive.org. Our website is all the bugs have been worked out. Jamie, or the guy that works with us on that, he did a marvelous job getting in there and fixing the problems. But for those of you that prefer to do it by mail, we do have it's not actually a post office box, but it's at a UPS store, which is a post office box, but you just can't put P.O. Box on there. But it's 8297 Champions Gate Boulevard, number 442. Champions Gate, Florida, 33896. That is in the Orlando area there. Again, we'll be back there coming here in July. We're going to set up a meeting once we get back there. Probably set it up for August. Sometime in August there in Orlando. So in August, first part of August, we'll be doing a meeting in Orlando. Northwest Florida, probably the end of July, maybe first week of August. We'll get the dates on this. And then in the month of August, we'll probably from Northwest Florida, we may go straight on over into Texas. But we're going to come back into base and then go back out again several times. And in fact, on the West Coast, we may fly out because we're going to try to do Spokane, Washington, Oregon, possibly California as well, and just different places. And we're going to go up on the East Coast as well. So we're going to spend several months throughout the winter there trying to visit with you guys, meet you, and share things with you that's going on, seriously going on. And I know Yana will be speaking at these events as well, and she just has a tremendous amount of knowledge on all this. Anyway, I'm Steve Benoon. You're watching Israeli News Live. Thank you for watching, and pray for us. It's a lot of information and a very serious situation. Erev Tov.